live a little bit earlier from a different location as I kick the table that's in front of me. Going for something a little different. At least today, Sean and we'll have a little quick announcement once everything gets a-going. Hi, everyone. Hey, Ray. Hope you're doing all right. Let's see. Gonna hum to myself as I get this all set up, but hope everybody is doing okay today. Boop.
Let's see. I'm setting up from downstairs as opposed to in front of a little cabinet. How's the lighting? Comment on the lighting, because I also have Sean Beeman. Sean Beeman on the horn. How you doing?
Doing wonderful, sir. How you doing?
Good. Doing okay. I'm just adjusting the lighting, seeing how we're doing. I need to remember that. And that's fine. The natural lighting's good. No, I'm going to show this off. This is an old drafting lamp I got from Christiana. Let's see. So we've got a little bit of a different setup today, Sean. Would you like to kind of...
Yeah. We're trying to get a little more mobile with our whole situation here. We want to be able to be more accessible for the consumer, y'all, that are consuming our podcast here. And we want to be able to get ourselves onto Spotify and Apple. And so to do so, we're both recording secondary audio so that we can send to each other and upload accordingly. So we'll have news on that, I'm imagining, in the next couple of days.
Yeah. I'm getting familiar with the Anchor app, which I probably should have done a while ago, but you know what? Like, now we have consistent content, and I think what's fun is, like, already I'm sitting there going, like, we have the Sean and Marco portion, and then we can branch out from there and take it from there.
Yeah, man.
I think that's about it. I'm checking. I have an air filter running at my feet because
I can't hear it at all. You're pretty good so far.
Good.
Yeah.
So today we are going to talk about, oh wait, hold on. Sponsorship message. We are both wearing our Based on a True Story shirts from our buddy, Marco Antonio from The Chosen Wan
Thank you,
Apparel.
The Chosen Wan. Make sure you check them out at The Chosen Wan, CHOSENWAN.com.
And they've got a lot of fun pop culture themed apparel and bags and shoes and lots of fun stuff. Comfy shirts. These are great.
They really are.
Nice
it's a solid
design.
Quality.
Yeah.
I've already washed mine. The shrinkage was minimal. It still fits pretty solid, I'd say. And then also the quality on this silk screen here is next level, man. Like, it's not cracking at all. It's not something that feels like it's going to peel off. It's feel good stuff.
It's not stiff. It's not like you're feeling like you're wearing a cardboard piece on the front of your shirt or anything. It's really awesome. So just check out thechosenone.com. Thank you again.
Get laced up. Awesome. Without further ado, today we got Sean and Marco in the morning.
We're going to be covering The Incredibles, which was released in 2004, October 27, 2004, at the BFI London Film Festival, and then November 5th, 2004 in the United States. I actually have a computer in front of me, so I can do some fact checking. I know we're both moving on.
Look at us. To the east side. I'm with it.
So we can do like a real high speed synopsis, and then we can kind of go a little more into detail. It's I think
just a little insight for everybody that's watching and listening right now. If this episode doesn't go quite as long as it normally do, reasoning behind it, I got my vaccine yesterday. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I'm all hopped up on Mountain Dew, so I should be cool for the rest of this episode. But just a heads up, if I start feeling a little icky, we might have to scoot out of here. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to make it through. I'm feeling pretty good at the moment.
Give me like a little Carol Burnett ear tug if you need to drop it. I'll just wrap it up. And that's all the time we have today. It seems that we've
you just see it come
out. So today we're covering 2004's Incredibles, which superhero film, and it's not to say that like.
Are you sure it's a superhero film? Because I
kind
of feel contrary to that already.
I just think what's funny with it is I feel like it's kind of like a little touchstone moment in superhero films. I know like you've got Superman, you've got the Tim Burton Batmans, you can't deny those, and then and even jumping back to the Adam West Batman, and like it's one of those points along that timeline, like couple 6 or 7 years before.
I would say it's probably the first time you've seen a super team on the movie screen. You've never, like, besides maybe the Fantastic Four, that's probably the closest thing you've seen to it. And even a little fun fact with that was the Fantastic Four was raced to release after this. And not only that, they also raced to retouch all their CG because they were worried that Pixar was going to outdo them on how, like, on their battle scenes and whatnot. Because we talked a lot about how Pixar was kind of at the forefront of CG technology at this point. They really developed it. So,
I never actually saw the original Fantastic Fours. I just know Chris Evans is the Human Torch, Jessica Alba's in it, and Michael Chiklis. Man, what happened?
You know what? The cast is very attractive.
They keep talking about how they need to bring Chris Evans back as the Human Torch, like a multiverse.
Well, he was a perfect casting for it. All the Fantastic Fours. They just had terrible, in my opinion, especially coming from Pixar.
Yeah.
We get this great storytelling over here, and then the Fantastic Four has all the opportunity to have that kind of fantastic storytelling, and then it's a family. They come closer together because of this issue, and they become a family throughout the adversity that they fight. And their villain, Dr. Doom, is phenomenal. But at the same time, the movies have just always fallen flat to me, and it's just been a bummer because, like, they're in the comics, they're phenomenal characters. And so The Incredibles really gives us a kind of cool insight into what the Fantastic Four could have been. Because in my opinion, it's much more of a family movie. Not for family, but about family than it is about superheroes at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think other, like, I guess, hurdles that they had to handle is this is the first film that focused primarily on humans. And they had a lot of, so like before it was water, then it was plants, and then it was toys, and now they're dealing with humans.
I will say that they draw a lot from the Woody and Jesse models. You can tell when it comes to the human, which makes sense because they're both based on humans and everything. The humanoid toys, but you can really tell just in like the skin tones and everything that they choose for humans. It's very much so similar to exactly what we saw from the vinyl toys in Jesse and Woody and the Roundup Gang.
Yeah, and they brought in Brad Bird, who previously was on Simpsons and did Iron Giant. Like, that needs no introduction. Yeah,
I was looking at the cast there, man, and he's got probably about 2 or 3 different birds in this cast for voice acting. I thought it was pretty cool. He got his family in to do some little spots and everything.
Yeah.
The Iron Giant, yeah, dude, probably that's like top 2, top 3 animated films for me outside of this CG genre. Like, it's Hogarth is. First of all, yeah, dude, everything about that movie is. We could definitely do a special episode on Iron Giant.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah. That's much.
So then, Brad Bird. Another cool fact about Brad Bird in this whole thing was he's actually the inspiration behind Syndrome. Visually, the art crew used him as their inspiration without telling him, and he didn't notice until far too late. At which point he was Syndrome. Yeah, he was Syndrome. It's pretty hilarious that they're like, you know what? We're going to make... He's such an ugly guy, too. Syndrome looks so gross. It's funny. His nasty teeth and, like, they make even his skin look dry somehow. It's
They're just like... Can you imagine being like, guy's a little... Wait a second. Hold on a second.
It looks just like... I look like...
It looks like me. Hold on. Other things... that were I think this is Michael Giacchino's first Pixar involvement. Got a lot of fun John Barry, James Bond kind of sounding music. That I think this was one of the first times.
Phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
Just it's like the overtures in between stuff, the little instruments they use, like when he's sneaking places and you just hear the xylophone, all that kind of stuff. Just
nice little sonic signature everywhere. I think this probably was like. This is peak, like 2004 is like peak Marco, like 8th grade. I'm going to be a filmmaker. I'm going to study film. And like, I was at that point, I had like kind of turned away from animation. And then this was the movie that made me go, oh, animation's crazy. And to me, the chase scene with Daphne, that whole sequence is just Chef's
I was
kiss
sitting
right
there
there.
watching that and I was going like, okay, I wonder how they render all this. Like, do they just
Mhm.
copy paste the jungle a billion times? Because it
Mhm.
looks so unique as he's running through it, you
Yeah.
know. And maybe they're just hitting. Imagine like they're copying and paste it and they flip it one way and they do it again. And
Mhm.
it's just a puzzle piece of itself, so it never looks identical. And it's even the open spaces looks great. And then
Yeah.
the way they just the way they use the set and scenery in this movie so well. Whether it's like when Dash is in that scene and he's running away from both of them, and he's running one way and he's running the other, and he just stops in the water and he
Mhm.
drops, and it's
Yeah.
just like the writing there to have that thought to think that's how this battle's going to end for him
Mhm.
is just once again phenomenal, man.
There's a
Using
lot of
everything.
there's a lot of stuff. I would recommend if you haven't to watch the film with the commentary. Brad Bird's commentary and the way that he talks about film. Granted, he's a little he's a little abrasive at times, but what filmmaker isn't?
Yeah.
And the theories and the little ideas that he presents, I always like. He talks about it, and a lot of CG filmmakers who do animation talk about this. Where if you're going to do like a fantastical camera move, it has to have a purpose. That just applies to film as a whole. And if you watch this movie, there's a lot of just very like it's locked in, and it's just real. It's filmed as if you would, in a way that you would film a live action film, and those properties and those theories are applied here. Like there's a couple like real like you're never gonna have a shot fly out of a building in a certain way, but you're gonna have like an aerial shot that looks similar to like when they're chasing Dash. It looks like a helicopter shot from a movie in the 70s. Like it's
That whole opening scene just felt like Die Hard.
yeah.
when he's got Bon Voyage going on, all that stuff going on, like it's very Die Hardy. The whole being up in the skyscraper as such, the whole police crew downstairs, like the setting is like the set design in this movie is next level. It's another thing. I can't every time I look at you can break down any scene for the most part, and it's all very unique. They utilize everything in the area down to like so when they're doing the police scanner scene, they utilize like it shows them in the beginning they're in that alleyway. They basically utilize within like a 1 block radius that entire everything in that 1 block radius in that time. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the building on fire, the diamond store across the street, the cars in the street, and their car across the street, they're like everything's within that frame of shot, and that setting is complete. Like it's so efficient. You know what I mean? There's no wasted space, and then also the way they're able to create like the end of your depth of perception in this movie. So like with like I don't want to get too far. I'm going way ahead of myself. But just every time they create a place, it's like in a video game where like you can't get outside of the area, but also you can't see outside the area. It's your world feels complete with what's there.
A little distance haze. You got. It's fun looking at this movie where it's just they dealt. This easily could have been. I mean, any of the movies, I guess, easily could have been a live action film. And, like I mean, I guess. Sorry, I'm just thinking about like a makeup assisted like CG Bugs Life, and I'm like, no, Incredibles. We'll stick to that. And it's just a neat. It introduced a new audience to concepts that were introduced in like Watchmen and a lot of comics that I never really dove into. Like Watchmen, like I watched this and then I remember reading Watchmen later going like, oh, that's where they pulled this from. You know, it's like everything.
You're talking about like the hero identity registry kind of a thing?
Yeah, and just like having them registered, having them be almost like superheroes are almost more of a nuisance, seen as a nuisance now. And like just that whole PR side of being a superhero, I think, is a real.
The idea how much money they cost the government and people.
Yeah, and
everybody's life is affected positively.
Could you imagine being Rick Dicker, the social worker, the government worker? That's like, all right, here.
Honestly, man, he probably doesn't do it too often. I feel like he probably only works like he's got to work like maybe 2 weeks out of the year.
Yeah. What'd they blow up this time? All right, let's see. Blew up another office building. All right, okay.
I feel like that's what he looks like in real life too.
Well, it's what's it? Rick Dicker is played by Bud Luckey, who wrote and sang Bounden, the short that opened in this.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he also did. He wrote. I don't know if he sang it. Did you remember the Alligator's birthday in Sesame Street? And it's about there's a king alligator and he's sitting on the throne and the first son brings like gold and He thinks it's candy and eats it, and his teeth fall
This
out.
sounds like something I'd be very interested in.
I'll
Play
send
that
it to
right
you.
now.
It's Bud Lucky did a lot of early set. Like, it's really neat seeing how when I think, like, maybe now that we're older and the internet is prevalent, you're able to see the connections and things that you like, and you understand why there's a vein that runs through everything, because you're like, the same person has kind of bounced around through things.
Yep.
I was talking with my friend Natalie about Jim Henson, and talking about how I'll send you a short film. Anyway, I am getting off topic.
No, I'm right there with you, dude. For me, that vein is Steve Buscemi. I think that literally, like, it goes into every vein of, like, whether it's dramatic, funny, romantic. He's like in every type of movie I like, and then he's like like this little piece that gets me connected to literally everyone. You know what I mean? I love it.
Andrew Dunsworth in the viewing?
My man, dude.
Andrew Dunsworth.
We've got a lot of celebrities in here right now.
Well, you know what's crazy is I was following. I'm gonna tell the story, Andrew. It might embarrass you now. I follow just technology, and one day I was following Google talking about what's it called? It's the thing that Google just did: quantum computing, quantum supremacy. And I'm watching the video, going, "Oh, this is an interesting concept." And there's Andrew just working on a computer. I'm like, all right.
I know that guy.
I know that guy. He's helping computers work faster than they've ever worked before. And here I am working on the cartoon
podcast.
Yeah. Hold on, you're gonna hear some typing on my audio, and I'm looking for this link to send you. The Alligator King. Back to the Incredibles.
I keep going to thinking of let's go to Incredibles. You're right.
Oh, what were you saying?
I was thinking alligator. I was gonna keep thinking Alligator Rock, Crocodile Rock, Elton John. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I learned on the piano last week. Just heads up, I want to hear it.
So when are we getting together and doing dueling pianos? And
we should. That'd be sweet.
I can't play piano and I can't sing, which means I am
okay.
more than
We'll play
welcome
yours.
to the karaoke bar.
We'll put you. Actually, you love karaoke. Fun fact: Marco loves karaoke. 18th birthday, great times. Anyways, Incredible. So let's kind of break it down from the beginning. We get the opening scene. You get to see kind of like what the hero is and how they're all kind of real people at the same time, right? You got Mr. Incredible, who's got all kinds of like just deeds he has to get done before he can get to wherever it is that he has to get to, which we don't know yet. And at the same time of getting all that done, he's got little deeds and big deeds, and they all matter. You know what I mean? Whether it's getting the cat out of the tree or stopping the bank robber, he's got to knock them both out with the same conviction. And he does. And you could see how stressful that is on the hero, you know?
Balance.
Yeah, he's literally balancing a cat off of a tree to smash it onto a car. It's so good. And that's exactly how I feel about cats, too. Anyways, we get that. We get introduced to his future wife, Elastigirl, who, like, I don't know, man. I really like her character because A, she's hot, and B, she's really like she knows. Yeah, right. I love that line. But you know what I mean? Like she's in the drive. She's very type A, you know? And so, and her man is type A, and she's more type A than her man. And part of that is her flexibility, you know? But she's still in charge. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from a romantic movie. It's My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And the mom is talking about the dad. She goes, your father is the man of the house. And the man of the house is the head. But I am the woman of the house. And the woman is the neck. And the neck can turn that head any way it chooses. And that's exactly who Elastigirl is. She's totally the one that's making everything happen if she chooses. Yeah. And so after that, you get like their family unit, and you see that Elastigirl's really, once again, the alpha in the family. She's making everything happen. He's sacrificed the most in the sense that he was the number one hero, so now he's the number 155th insurance agent. And I feel like we've all had that job where you're just sad. You're just like this. I wish I could help you, but my job said I can't.
Yeah, that's what. And like I think what's it's interesting because you never, like from a storytelling moment, the focus is so laser focused that like you're introduced to literally Bob, and you're introduced to Mr. Huff, and that's about it. The
Well, you
little
know
old
what's
lady.
cool about that, dude, is I was talking about this earlier. I was thinking about this earlier. Is that they do that for the whole movie. When you think about this movie, there's probably 7 characters in the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, including the old lady that you're about to talk about. Like that's everybody. You got like the supporting characters are old lady, boss, and the government guy you were talking about. What's his name?
Rick Dicker.
Rick Dicker. And then after that, it's the main characters.
Yeah,
that's it.
And it's very well focused. When you watch like
it
the
still
behind
builds a world, and it still builds a
Yeah.
wonderful world. The universe is expanding in this place.
Yeah. The behind the scenes is real fascinating because I remember they talk about how like the original the ending that's in the film was the original beginning, and it wasn't supposed to be. It was supposed to highlight. It was more focused on the actual like, from my understanding, everything is going to be with that. From my understanding, it was much more focused on the outside conflict. It was the external conflict of being a superhero and like a supervillain finding out who you are and crash landing in your house and kidnapping your kid, and them going, okay, now we have to move. And then
so the whole thing was going to be Jack gets jacked.
Well, more along the lines of like that.
Which is kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, it was more along the lines of like that was the issue where it's like supervillains know who we are, we have to keep moving and stuff. And then it kind of I think it like wasn't meshing, and then they eventually like family.
Well, the story that they landed on really hits it out of the park because you just hit it. It's really a story about family.
Yeah,
as down to like, we'll get to it. Actually, we'll get there because like there's some real great growth moments in it. So we get introduced to the family. At this point, we know that heroes are outlawed, and that they're forced to live a life that's normal. But the problem with that is the problem with anybody who's extradited back in the community after they were once displaced is that they don't have the same starting point as everybody else, you know. And so like they're not going to be well off or in a great position to do well. So it sounds like they're depending on the government for support, as well as he has this dead end job, and it's not as though he got to work on a resume while he was Mr. Incredible. So this is the best job he could get, which is a bummer. And then from there, you got the kids who are told that they can't use their powers.
Yeah,
you could tell that Mr. Incredible wishes he could, and he loves hearing about Dash. Dash's teacher. I think not.
Lou Romano. Yeah, it's like every little character. Like, how many lines does his teacher have? He has like 5 lines, 6 lines,
that's it.
2 minutes. You never see him again, and memes for days.
It's the efficiency in this movie, but also they're efficient with the visuals too, because they're able to give you so much story from just painting the picture. You know what I mean? Like I was in the scene later on when he's inside Kronos or whatever, and he's looking into the system and all that stuff. I started pausing, and I was just because like the world building there is very extensive. Yeah. They start telling you about all the heroes that were around, and so I just started pausing and looking at all their abilities and what the names were and everything. And it must have been really really fun to come up with all those superheroes just to have them all. You know what I mean? And I wonder if they were like different ideas for actually to be put in the movie, and they ended up it's just that's where the cutting room floor put them at, or what. But there's an incredible efficiency throughout this movie.
Yeah. We're introduced to one of the most quotable characters from this film, Frozone.
Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you.
Just pun. I haven't heard that one before. just Samuel L. Jackson just.
I really wish. I know that this is the first time that we've seen a PG movie out of Pixar, but it would have been cool if it went rated R just for Samuel Jackson.
Just
that rated R cut.
There has to be
You know
somewhere. Yeah, there's got to be like
where's my motherfucking super?
There's probably a whole reel of him talking where it's just like
It'd be so good
going off the rails.
Bloopers of Samuel Jackson going nuts.
A shark ate me. I turned it into an ice cube.
I turned that shark. I cubed him.
Turned him into a popsicle. He's not going to be bothering no one anymore.
Saved LL Cool J and everything. Deep Blue Sea. Sorry, anyways.
The Incredibles, Samuel L. Jackson recut. Forget about the Snyder cut and its square grayness. Give us a
HBO coming to HBO Max this summer. The Jackson cut.
The Jackson
Incredibles
cut.
3.
His Mr. Incredible's call to action is interesting. The thought that for him to like get a dose of the old days, he's like effectively in this world committing a crime. He's
I mean, by the end of it, the cops think he's a jewelry rapper.
yeah. It's just a comedy of errors to get to that moment, and just like
that was also real quick. That fun fact that was a direct correlation to Danny Glover in Die Hard with the "I'm just making a phone call.
mm-hmm.
I'm just reaching for a glass of water.
I'm thirsty." It's just like, freeze. It's just what else too, where it's like
More world building to that. So like for all the nerds out there, you're always kind of wondering like how powers work and everything.
Mhm.
One cool thing about that scene is when he freezes the police officer, you see his eyes are still moving and that he still seems conscious. And so that it just seems like it's a much more harmless freezing than you would see in some other movies.
where
And it
you're
kind
just
of
like,
builds it up to where you know, okay, he can freeze people and they don't die.
mhm. And just within the dialogue of like, you know, answering the questions the audience is probably thinking, where it's like, why don't you make some ice while we're in this fire? Well, I use the moisture in the air. Well, there isn't any moisture. What moisture?
I love it. And he gets to the way they're back to the efficiency, emotionally efficient. They got the point across. They didn't waste any time in there. And then they immediately get right back into, especially accompanied by the music inside of there. Once he starts moving again, you feel the momentum of him rolling through those walls.
Wall.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's all through the music and everything, you know?
Oh man! So after that, he comes home, and there is it. This let's see. Hold on. I'm reading the Wikipedia, the most accurate one. Let's see. You might be able to hear the garbage truck demolition derby that's going on outside. They do their best to make sure every single piece of trash is into that truck by any means necessary. It's Macho Man as a garbage truck. You're getting in that trash can if you can. Come here.
I got you for 3 minutes.
3 minutes of playtime. I tell you, they need to make a Bonesaw origin story. I have a whole joke about that, where it's like, yeah, and here I'm going to go on a tangent while I'm like looking for that.
Hit me.
The Bonesaw McGraw MCU origin story would take place before the fateful meeting of Spider-Man, and what it would be is Bonesaw McGraw comes from a family of medically themed and named people. He is one of the great and proud McGraw clan. You know, he's got like, you know, Bonesaw.
We got Al Scalpa. Al Scalpel.
Al Scalpel. Scalpel McGraw. We got Forceps McGraw. We've got so Bonesaw.
Oh my God.
So
Forceps McGraw is wrong.
Like, could you imagine like the father and the son arguing where it's like, no son of mine's gonna be a wrestler, you're gonna become a doctor. No, Dad, you don't understand me. I'm leaving, I'm gonna become a wrestler. And he leaves.
Oh, it's so good.
Bonesaw McGraw, down on his luck after flunking out of medical school, becomes a wrestler and has to pay the bills and ends up being the greatest underground wrestler of all time until his throne is usurped by none other than Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man.
You'll never be ready to be a dad. Bonesaw's ready.
That's the payoff. You'll never be ready for it, son.
Oh man, hold on 1 second. I have an issue now. I think I ran out of space. Oh no. Well,
It's worth it. It's worth it. Bonesaw McGraw the movie is.
I think it's worth it. We may or may not have. We may have an issue with our podcast this first week, just because I've run out of space to record audio on this here laptop.
Gotcha.
Well, sorry about it.
It's okay. You know what? That's a good place to stop. At least it's a good place to stop with the
audio
recorded version.
podcast,
We can
yeah.
just have it where the recorded version is slightly truncated, which makes people want to watch the longer broadcasted version. So we're going to keep going here.
All right, so back in it. So
yeah.
he's got his call to action. Basically, he sees someone getting mugged, and he wants to help them. And his boss is just a total doucher.
Bureaucrat, the best kind of bureaucrat.
Yeah,
The type
we've all had that boss.
yeah.
He's the boss that makes you quit.
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy, and so he's feeling it. And the problem that we have with Mr. Incredible is that he's far too normal emotionally for how abnormal he is physically.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got this moment where he's very upset, and we all get upset. We curl our hands in the fists. But when he puts his hand in the fist, bad things happen. Holes in walls seem to happen, and people get tossed.
That
This
poor
one
doorknob.
was his boss.
Mm-hmm.
And he went through like 5 walls.
Yeah.
Which is nuts to think about, a regular person going through like 5 walls.
Mm-hmm.
Which also led me to have this random crazy thought, which is how crazy cool would it be if in Incredibles 3 they bring him back to be a supervillain and he had powers the whole time, and that's why he wasn't killed in that moment. I'm just saying, there's a little seed there. If they want to water it, you could grow up a nice little tree. It'd be pretty sweet. Because he's such a doucher, you already hate him. It'd be a perfect villain.
Teams up with the Underminer. He'll be the Underminer.
Ooh, the Ratzenberger, I love it.
And the Ratzenberger as a duo.
I'm
That'd
into
be
it.
wild.
I'm into it. And so from there, he's left hopeless. And I love these moments in these movies because you really don't know, especially first time through. You have no idea how it is that our protagonist is going to find their way out. You know what I mean? I love it when writers write themselves into holes like this in the walls, because like you're kind of like as somebody, especially I'm sure you get it. As people who really enjoy storytelling, you normally know what's going to happen next, right? And it's nice when you don't, and you're still pleased, because sometimes you don't know what's going to happen next, and what happens just doesn't make sense. You're not into it. It's not the way Pixar rolls normally. In this moment, we're introduced to. We've been kind of foreshadowed a little bit with Mirage in that whole diamond scene and everything, but now we understand that she really is a scout and she's looking for them, and she offers him an opportunity to make everything right as long as he deceives his wife.
Which is never the right answer, no matter
bad
how.
call.
Yeah, no matter
really bad
how
call.
fun the robot bashing is, not the right thing to do.
I
But
just talked to. Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking about Mr. Incredible Bob's man cave with all of his accolades, the comic book, just the sheer amount of detail in that is great, and just his
down to the fan mail. I love that they put a little piece of fan art in there too, because it was just like a nice little piece to kind of humanize him and let you know that like he really does feel for people more so than it's just, because otherwise it really feels like he's idolizing himself, which he is, but he's also like there's a standard he set for himself. In kind of like
when he hasn't been meeting it for a long time.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So he's shipped off to No Manisan Island, a fun little pun there, and is introduced to the Omni Droid.
Version 10.
And just, a lot of fun James Bond influence here. Just the jet coming into some smooth bossa nova. You know, the island, the tech.
I was going to say also
tropical.
the aesthetic of the technology is all very much so
sleek mid-century. You know, and it helps his back. That's a great gag. I remember that was something that they played up a lot in the trailers of like him being old, or or maybe not old, but older, and having
he's
to
normal.
deal with.
That's why I say it's not like any other superhero movie. You know, most superhero movies, they might attack a little bit of this normality you feel, but mostly they attack you as a superhero. Everything in this, he's challenged as a father, as a husband, as a citizen. Like he's just and before as an employee, before we even get to the challenges of a hero. You know what I mean? Like even down to when he sees Gazer Beam inside of there and everything, you know, the way it hurts him and all that stuff, like it's like you're seeing a coworker going through something more so than it's a superhero. Like it's all very much so analogous, I feel like.
The ensuing battle is fun in the volcano.
Dude, they have, so like you said, we'll cover it one more time. We've covered toys, we've covered bugs and grass, we've covered underwater, and now we got hot liquid magma.
Mm-hmm. Floor is lava.
Which, fun fact, I just found out recently that ice is rocks, and since ice is rocks, that means water is magma. You're welcome, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the hot liquid magma. Hello, Josh. And from there, that battle is really sweet because that's how he realizes how. That's the foreshadowing of the whole movie. He realizes how to beat it. The only way you can beat it is by using it to destroy itself. Nothing else is hard enough to destroy it. Which is saying a lot because Mr. Incredible is by far now, in our estimated opinion, the strongest person in this universe.
Let's see. So during the ensuing battle, he damages his super suit. What do you do? What do you do when you damage your super suit? You can't just take it to the super suit dry cleaner. You take it to Edna Mode.
Edna Mode.
Edna Mode. A great voiceover turn for Brad Bird as Edna Mode. Powerhouse of a fashion designer. And it's a fun concept. Like you almost want to see that origin story too. It's every character you're like, what got them here? And the fact that she talks about how like she was, she designed for superheroes. That was her thing. And like the concept of that before the superhero act, superheroes were, doing fashion shows and stuff. And there's another thing. This is another it's a detail and a tangent, which is my bread and butter. If I ever were to have an amount of money in which I didn't know what to do with the thing that I would want to do.
Give it to me immediately, Marco.
I would give you part of it immediately. And
No. You get not part of it. You gotta make sure it's all. Because if you give me part of it, I can't protect all of it, man. You gotta make sure you give it all to me. Anyways, you got all the money. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting. I don't know what the copyright would be on this. Is to like recreate Edna Mode's house.
Oh my god! Well, there's also things that are physically impossible about her.
That staircase.
What's so cool about it too.
Yeah.
Exactly, you were right there with me, man. That staircase is beautiful. It's an infinity staircase. It's connected to absolutely nothing, and it just looks so stunning. And then like the fountain, coolest thing I thought, the fountain with the cape waterfall fountain coming off the back was so rad looking. Like they have so many really sweet pieces in there. And then
just amazing mid-century design. Yeah, just like,
oh my god, her character's phenomenal. Down to like, I love how petty she is, how on their side she is, how little time she has for nonsense, how much nonsense she brings to the table. Like it's just
duality.
It's so good. It just keeps on moving, and she works wonderfully.
She'll make him a new suit along with repairing the hobo suit.
The hobo suit. Oh, I never look back, honey.
Distracts from the now. I feel like hobo suit, man. That'd be that's such a burn. I feel
like if she saw what I wore in high school, 90% of the time, she'd call it all a hobo suit.
Me too. Yeah, a lot oversized tees. A lot of oversized tees.
Pro clip.
Yeah. So then he keeps Bob being spurned by the concept of he's going to be fighting a lot of prototypes, or at least doing a lot of, Life's Incredible again, a fun and great alarm clock tune to send, or a good ringtone. A real fun montage seeing him getting back to that.
The Superman workout scene is phenomenal, yeah. And seeing the way they once again, they don't say anything during this montage, but you realize that it's all secretive. He's keeping it from his wife. He feels better than he's ever felt. You notice a lot of big changes. He got the sports car. His hair is brighter now. He's muscular all of a sudden.
Color is back.
He's way it's just color in his skin. He's not gray anymore. And then whenever he's doing his workouts, he's still keeping it secret from the world. Still, you notice that as well. He's not Mr. Incredible yet. He's Mr. Incognito.
And just like the way.
It's so good.
I think what's really neat with that scene too is this is me. I preface a lot of things that I say because I just feel like someone's going to call me out on it. I know just enough about animation that I can use certain phrases, but I'll probably use them incorrectly. I think what's really neat with this sequence is how they portray weight and how you can tell that like when he's pulling for him, it looks like it's easy to pull it, But then the way that the train car, when he's kicking it and then he just drops it onto the track, you can tell it's a heavy object. And I just think that's got to be such a fun riddle to solve animation wise. Just to be like, how does it look light to this person and heavy to this person, and how
and it's a whole equation they got to put together between audio and visually. How do you make it look and sound like it, and how do you have that marriage work?
Yeah. Mr. Incredible's car is stated incredible. It's a neat little like I think it's based off of a Mercedes.
I'm not sure.
The Gullwing Mercedes Benz. I can't remember which one. Let me Google that. And
yeah, the car's absolutely really pretty and everything. You notice not only does the family notice it, not only does she know, does Elastigirl know that she's got a man who's shining right now, but the neighbor child sees the whole thing too.
Yeah,
and he's a great character in the whole thing. That whole bubble and all that stuff is just phenomenal. The big wheel. They really find ways in Pixar to connect, and you probably had a big wheel. You knew the kid that was just in your business for no reason. Like all these things, they find the character that is very much so in all of our lives consistently. And that little child is one more instance of that happening again, I feel like.
Let's see. Mr. Incredible returns to Nomanisan and finds out the real identity of the benefactor. Syndrome, Buddy Pine.
Hey, no, you're that old fan.
Incredible. I can do that voice. It's incredibly loud because Jason Lee is just a loud dude in the best way.
Jason Lee, man, I love him. If you haven't seen his work in My Name is Earl, it's a great program, especially if you just see some fodder in the background. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, that was zigzagging back and forth where it was like another thread where it's just like Jason Lee, Incredibles, Jason Lee, Kevin Smith, Jason Lee skating. Like it just.
They do a great job of because they cut back and forth between his monologue and what's happening with no, I'm one scene ahead actually. I'm sorry. Once he finds out about Syndrome, that's when he escapes from the robot one more time. And I was cutting ahead to, they do a great job of going back and forth between what's happening with Elastigirl and his and him infiltrating the whole thing, where that scene is a wonderful marriage once again with music again, because it either goes to like this like xylophone things to this like dramatic strings and like I don't know if it's an organ or something going on for Elastigirl. It was just going back and forth. There's two different musics happening back and forth, and then before you know it, it was the same song, and it's just growing with both those things. And it was like we had the world building right there at that point where we're seeing. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about the scene where you get the world building where you get to see all the different heroes that have been there and have been deceased since, all different types of models the robot has gone through and everything, which gives you more of an insight as per how brilliant Buddy really is. In the sense that he's not just the guy who can do this once, he's been doing this for a while. We haven't seen like any of Buddy's technology yet though, besides this robot. So all we know is that he can make this robot, and the robot's very 1950s, the day the Earth stood still, War of the Worlds-y robot. Like it's not as futuristic as you'd think, you know, for a lot of, but it all takes place back, and the whole idea is that this is a concept from the 50s. So it makes sense.
It's just that whole, like you said, the intertwining between, you know, Helen having suspicions about Bob and like not wanting to trust him, you know, and then just that little.
She does, and the best thing is she does trust him through the whole thing, and that right there is another connective point I feel like for all of us, where when you love somebody, sometimes you trust them to a fault, and in this moment. She's kind of trusting him to a fault, but also she's not, but she is. It's a weird line they walk because with it being a feel-good children's movie, they can't have her divorce her husband in this movie or anything, you know? And so, like, I love the way they get over it, too, which we'll get to in a moment. But essentially, she bends and decides that she needs to find out where he's at, and she hits the button. And we get the first dose of Syndrome's technology. Mr. Incredible is shot continuously and repetitively, which I think is a really cool concept. Like these are the kind of things that make superhero movies super. Is these really cool obstacles that not even a superhero can get out of, right?
Forbidden bubblegum. Like
it's literally what it is.
Yeah, and like that, and when you think about it, it's like, that would be the thing that would probably mobilize Mr.
Because
Incredible.
it gets worse and worse as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. Edna Mode's pep talk.
I love it.
Is a great
Win!
Pull yourself together.
I love it.
And one, I think it's funny too, like little, like, going back to Edna's decor in her house. She has an incinerator in her kitchen island. When she knocks the tissue into it, you're gonna see a little puff.
Love that, because she's a germaphobe.
Yeah, and then jumping back to a little bit earlier, the fish fireplace. When she's I think she's talking with Helen on the phone, and in the background it looks like there's an out of focus fireplace, but it's in fact a orange fish circulating within a fish tank that looks like a fireplace.
I'm gonna check that out.
And then Mr. Incredible is captured, I think. Yes. And then
he's captured, and we get another dose of the technology that he's running with, in the sense that he's levitating now due to force fields in these weird, like, restrictive balls.
Mm-hmm. And the family finds out about
the family finds out that they're all going to be a super team, essentially, because Edna Mole Edna Mode's really got like a master plan going on. She could be another deep thought. She could end up being like, the way that I don't know, Batman got the Justice League together. She's that.
Yeah.
She's the catalyst at the very least.
She's putting pieces where they need to fall, essentially.
Exactly.
They fly on a jet, and
I like the jet scene a lot, because it starts to build this idea that Violet has to every character needs something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so for Violet, it's that for both the kids, it's that they've never been able to actually utilize their own powers. They've only been able to use them in small spaces inside the home where no one can watch them. So it's the first time they're out in the world where they're being asked to use them. And Violet is already a shy girl. And so having her mom ask her to do what her mom asked her to do, it's a very daunting task.
Yeah.
Save the family. That's what she's saying. Save the family. And every time she says it with more conviction, and she's a little more aggressive. And it gets worse and worse. And that if you are somebody who suffers from anxiety, a lot of times that added pressure has the opposite desired effect.
Yeah, doesn't help. And
exactly what happened. And there's a foreshadowing here that happens real quick that Edna Mode brings about, what she says when she's showing her all the uniforms. It shows her Elastigirls, because yours can stretch out as far as you can, well, at least without getting hurt, and it's nearly indestructible. And they shoot a bunch of missiles at it.
Yeah. Right?
And so in this moment, when I was watching it this time, I never questioned it before, but I was wondering this time, like, how do they survive that missile attack?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's her suit. It's just straight up is her suit. That's what protected them, because she ended up knocked out from the whole thing. And once again, back to efficiency. They utilize every aspect of Elastigirl to save this family.
Yeah. Parachute, stretching, boat.
Yeah.
Brace yourselves.
It was just phenomenal. And all of that happens, and what's not lost and what's gained even more throughout it is the motherly bond, the relationship she has as a mother with both of her children.
Mm-hmm.
It grows even more and more, because, it's like the whole, you put the mask on yourself before the kids. No, moms don't do that. Moms put the mask on their child first. I'm sorry, sir, but that's just the way it goes,
Yeah.
And I know that's not the smartest way to go about it, but also that's literally just, look, I love my kid.
Yeah. I think what was really neat about the jet scene is that it sets the stakes. It sets the stakes that I think up to this point, you may not have been taking Syndrome Buddy Pine seriously.
He didn't seem nearly as evil because he wanted to be Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, like this is just they can talk about it. Maybe, eventually there's a redeemable quality within him.
Yeah.
And this is the moment where for the audience, you along with Mirage lose that sense of redeemability. And it's great. I think too, though, it's like once there's
heavy, man.
It's turning the screws. Everything about that scene is very, very perfect dramatically in that it's like
It
you're
flips
seeing-
everyone's switch though, man.
yeah, and it's just like he's turning the screws for Mr. Incredible. He's being cruel to families and children, and he's trying to be taken seriously. And that's the moment where you're like, well, this he's crazy and has to go down to
It also sets you up to
Uncle
kind
Iroh.
of start questioning Mr. Incredible, right? You start questioning his motives for being there in the first place.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because now he's lost his family over it. Mind you, as the audience that he hasn't lost his family.
Yeah.
But you're starting to judge him and he's judging himself
Mhm.
based on his own actions and everything. And you kind of start to wonder, like, I mean, they cover this in DC. What would happen if Superman lost his cool?
Mhm.
And we're starting to wonder, well, what would happen if he lost his cool?
Yeah.
And you see it for a second, and you realize it's just not him.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is it's like even in that moment, he won't do it. And that shows his characterization in that moment. It's a good character building. Yeah. It is. It's so good. Oh, David's in there. Hey, David. Let's see. From there, they take refuge.
Yep.
Yeah, they take refuge in the rocket port, and then the full scale. You're seeing hints of Syndrome's plan the whole time in the Kronos room, and then here in the rocket, you're seeing how you're seeing.
He's told him at this point, actually.
Yeah.
He told him he's told him at this point that he wants to be a hero, essentially.
Mhm.
And so if nothing's changed for him at all, like it's all right intent, wrong place, wrong everything else.
All the ingenuity could have been put towards something better.
I really wonder. I would like to see his growth from, like, I'd love to see like a short background on how did Syndrome become Syndrome.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, just because he has so much resources
Mm-hmm.
to buy an island and to have that many henchmen and stuff,
I think sheer spite and will, he was able to.
Like, I imagine he's like the Elon Musk Tesla of that world, but I wonder, you know what I mean? I guess wonder.
Yeah. Let's see. So the rocket launches,
Mhm.
and then let's see.
More foreshadowing happens in the sense that we learned already that the robot can learn because it learned in its fight with Mr. Incredible.
Mhm.
And so initially, Syndrome comes in to save the day, and when he does, the robot goes, "Oh, hell no." And it learns that it's being controlled by the remote on its hand, so it just shoots the remote off him. GG's.
And then that causes the stakes to go higher. There's nothing that can control it. And
Well, it's a trip, too, because he wants to be a superhero, and it plays more into his character, and he's gone after that.
Mhm.
You don't know. It's the last we see of Syndrome.
You think, when he crash land, he gets knocked out of that pretty quickly, and then but it's funny, it's interesting because the way that they plant it in your head, you're like, he's still there, but he's not a threat in this moment. He's not, and so we've got the whole scene where I'm jumping back to the island where everyone is able to use their abilities to their.
Oh yeah, dude, the chase scene. We got the chase scene and the infiltration scene happening right now. We got Elastigirl's dump truck. I'm sorry, Elastigirl's coming through. Dude, for real? Okay, so like we gotta cover it at least a little bit. Elastigirl. Top 2, top 3.
I don't have a list.
I'm not saying nothing about nothing. I'm just saying she's at least top 2, top 3. I'm gonna say right now, she looks good in mom jeans or Elastigirl. Either way, I'm here for you. Okay, Helen, you just give me a phone call. Is she real? No? Well, anyways, Elastigirl. So she's got her infiltration scene going on, which is really cool because you see the height of her powers, and you realize that, like, not only can she stretch, but she can be compressed. Yeah. Because she's compressed in those 3 different doors or whatever, And she has wonderful motor control over herself, even when she's
caught between 3 doors.
Yeah, like she's able to really control everything about her body and which direction she goes, which is really, really interesting.
And just like the way it's how can this scene, like, you think like, oh, you're gonna see how like it plays with your expectations. You think you're gonna see, okay, you're gonna see her in action, and then you're gonna see how it goes wrong, and then you're gonna see why she's a good superhero, because she's able to adapt to the 3 doors and the slapping the guard and the key card,
and she stays calm, cool, and collected throughout the whole
Yeah.
thing. She never feels like she's out of control of the situation, which is really a trip for how out of control of the situation she was.
Yeah. And then you get the kids running around their respective chase scenes, and
Violet's kind of useless for the majority of the scene.
Yeah, she's invisible, and then she does the psychic
She bonks a
hamster
guy
ball.
with a stick.
Mhm.
But the psychic, okay, but that's when she finally garners some use.
Yeah.
But until that moment, like Dash is killing it.
Mhm.
Dash is on next planet. He's running a couple 100 miles an hour. Those whatchamacallits are scary.
Yeah,
Especially to a child, because they're just spinning
giant
blades.
the I don't even know what they call them in the world, but the flying blades
Halo
of doom.
pods of some sort,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them.
Mhm.
Those are dangerous as heck. And so, remind me of if you want the real throwback, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, those big pineapple monsters. Remind me of one of those. Anyways, so those are really scary. He's kicking butt. We talked a little bit about it. The direction here, when it comes to just going from scene to scene, they do it. It cuts seamlessly, and it kind of reminds me of like an Indiana Jones chase almost. You know what I'm saying? Where like you could see Indiana Jones jumping off a building, and then it cuts to him coming out of the building on the bottom floor, kind of a thing. You know, it felt really like that, where he jumps off a cliff, then he ends up on the back of the bottom of the canopy. Woohoo! Yeah, and bam, right back in it. You know what I mean? Like it never quite stops.
And then
and the horns are going. I haven't mentioned it yet. The music with the horns.
All the brass.
Yes, I'm loving it.
That's a soundtrack you use to test the fidelity of your sound system, definitely.
For real.
And then everyone comes together. Everybody finds out everyone's alive.
We get the hamster ball scene essentially, where Dash saves Violet's life, and then Violet then returns the favor immediately. And he's, what are you doing? I don't know. And they start hamster balling, which is really cool looking, to be totally
Super
honest.
monkey ball.
It's utilizing both powers. Once again, they're being incredibly. They thought all this through. Man, you see so many movies where like you can come up with a better idea in the moment while you're watching it, and that's not the way you feel while you're watching any of these scenes. You're sitting there thinking like, "Whoa, what? No!" the whole time. We get the scene where they all get together, and it's really cool with our Fantastic Four Avengers. I'm on your left scene, where all of a sudden they all kind of power up and they're looking around. And what's really cool about this is that you watch Dash and Violet kind of get their footing with this whole super thing, and they've taken on these blade helos or whatever. But they've had, it's been rough. They've used all the tricks that they know thus far. And then Mom and Dad show up and take care of two of them like that. Like it's nothing. A one punch and a swipe, and it's done.
You see them
in there. It shows you how OP they are.
Yeah. And then getting back in their groove. Launches.
No, now we get the infiltration scene again, because now they got to find a way. Oh, no. They get captured at that moment. Because Syndrome comes through and hits them with the freeze.
0 point energy. Yeah. And the way that they get out, they're back in that same room that Mr. Incredible was in, immobilized. And the way that they get out of it, I think, is really fun, where like Bob is not distraught, but definitely throwing in the towel to a degree, considering throwing in the towel. And while he's doing that, everything's going on outside of his field of vision. And everyone is more capable than
even he imagines.
Yeah, and that's another great theme. Just the concept of, but like his oh gosh, I'm losing the words. Him having like anxiety from not being able to be useful to his family is an interesting, is a great theme.
I think what the anxiety kind of draws from is that he was a better Mr. Incredible than he was a father.
Yeah.
And that's a really hard pill to swallow when you love your family as much as he does, especially when you're someone who's got the values that Mr. Incredible has. To him, he should be super dad. And for some reason, he's not. And this movie gets him on that path, And there's so many just little, what's it called when you meet in the middle on something?
Compromise.
There's so many compromises that happen throughout this where by the very end, whether it's Dash doing his thing, whether it's Violet stopping being nearly as shy, whether it's just everybody just seems like they've kind of find the middle ground because they were shooting so far to one direction, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the infiltration back in. Or no, they're back inside and they get out. Violet lets them have his gross moment, which I gotta say, man, like it really hits me in the feels every time Mr. Incredible has a emotional moment. I feel like I do too, in the sense that like it sucks to lose family, and he's now lost his family once already. Whether it was hypothetical or not, he felt it. It happened. And I love once they get to the city and he talks about how he's not strong enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And once again, it's very efficient dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Very efficient dialogue because it's almost as though they wrote it backwards. They said, I'm not strong enough to lose you is where we want to get to.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is we want to break this up to where it grows and grows until it gets to that, you know, goosebumps again.
Reaches
and
this
like
critical mass. And
yeah, because I'm not strong enough being said by the strongest character in the universe is gravity. And gravity is weight. And there's a lot of weight in the situation. And so you notice like in that moment that there's tasks that he now knows that he can't do. And to this moment in the movie, he's felt like he could do absolutely anything. And that's his first limitation.
Now we get to the Battle of Metroville, the RV, how they arrive.
The RV scene is so great, yo.
Should we rebuild that RV? Should we do that? Have this beat up old RV.
We'll do the one after it lands, so it's all jacked up.
What's an Nazi of RV from the Incredibles? Let's see.
So we get the RV scene. They come through. They land it, which, I mean, I love that too because it's back to the family movie. How do I get there? Well, you got to take Trask or whatever it is. Traction. No, it's 7th. No, it's not 7th. You take Traction and they start arguing the same way your parents argued and my parents argued and everyone's parents argued and your friends argue about directions. It happens. And I love it because we're about to save the world. And we don't know what street to get off on.
Yeah. Take it. It goes across town. Go ahead.
Like, yeah, dude.
Turn left. Oh!
And then they straight up just crash for like 2 minutes straight.
Yeah.
So good. So good. And then we get the scene. We cannot make it through this without talking about it. Once the robot lands, first thing we see is Samuel Jackson realizing he has to jump into action. He hits the button. Everything in his apartment, the super suit is missing. Honey, where is my super suit? What you need that for? So, the city is in peril. My evening is in peril. You tell me where my super suit is, woman. It's for the greater good. I am your wife. I am the greatest good you will ever have. Greatest dialogue scene in 10 plus years by far. You tell me why super suit is, woman.
just the little touches of like the helicopter, just like robot in the background. Just like stop at the city. Please tell me where the suit.
My evening is in danger.
Can you imagine it like cut away to just like Frozone and his wife like at dinner like
oh my gosh. I have felt Frozone's pain. I have felt that pain so heavily in my life. I'm not super by any means, but I have felt that pain.
Just a crazy battle, fun applications of their power. The fact that Frozone can make things turn into ice, but can also turn like not as stable water. I don't know how to like. He can choose the consistency of the ice that he makes, and the fact that he can use like slush to be like to catch them as they're falling. I think it's such a neat application of a power where you're like ice. I
thought the same thing we talk about when Dash lands in the snow, in the slush. That was really cool. I like also everything about that. You got the first time you get a father-son moment, right?
Yeah.
Where Dash and his dad have a real issue with the sense they can't ever show their powers, right? Mm-hmm. And he tells his son, go long.
Yeah.
And he goes long, dude. Yeah. Like, and it's like, you realize like in that moment, that must have been such, like even the way he says it, go along. Like it reminds me of when Zurg and Buzz are in there. Go along, son. Like it was the same. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. And he does it, and it's great because you foreshadow the fact that he can run on water already. You've done it already one time,
Mm-hmm.
and then just the fact that he realized, just Dash is still a kid. Frozone runs up, scoops him up like he's Uncle Frozone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even though Dash probably a lot faster than Frozone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's about, look, man, you're a kid. I got you. You know, and it's all these themes keep coming right back to where it's like, I have a hard time calling it a straight superhero movie.
Yeah, it's a family movie or a movie about a family and your own issues that happens to be taking place with superheroes. Like it's
That's the vehicle.
yeah, and the finding the remote, figuring out that the robot's after the remote, and the only thing that's powerful enough is to pierce it. The shot where they're pushing all the buttons and just Mr. Incredible.
Type A personality again. Elastigirl won't shoot off the spear because she knows best. Which, to this point, she really has known best.
Yeah.
You know.
And the ending, the cleanup, the
thankfulness of the community.
the
growth
cameo,
of each character.
the Frank and Ollie cameo. No school like the old school.
Yeah, dude.
two of the 9 old men. And
you get the Underminer. Yeah. It really is. And what's cool about this too, we'll just touch on it, but I really, 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 really like, even though it is the longest tenor between 2 Pixar movies, back Incredibles 1 and Incredibles 2, I really enjoy the fact that Incredibles 2 literally picks up directly where we leave off.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, like, when you watch this movie, you're like, the Underminer? You're like, whoa!
Who's this guy?
Are we going to start this up again? What's going on? And they do! They totally do! They give us exactly what we want, and I love that. Sometimes you don't love that, sometimes you do.
Final thoughts? Other thoughts? What are you thinking? Like,
let me see. I brought up some other random stuff here. I got like some fun facts and stuff. Lily Tomlin was the first choice for Edna Mode, but he took the role. Brad Bird took the role. We talked about how he was the inspiration for Syndrome without his knowledge, which I still think is absolutely hilarious.
I think this was like, I have the old DVD. I'm sure the Blu-ray is the same, but I feel like the special features for this. Why is my hair doing that? The special features for this movie were amazing and incredibly in depth. There's a lot of really good insight into the process. There is one special feature that I really like, where there was a joke. I think it was one of the animators took it upon himself to, when they were running a little behind on their deadlines, he made a puppet version of the film, maybe like a 3-5 minute version, and it's just incredible puppets. And they uploaded it. There were some fun goofy things like that. There's a montage. You can
I think that's a really great sign that a movie's doing okay when people are having fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's just I feel like there's probably some edge cases, but for the most part, like, if you're having fun doing something, it's a good sign.
Definitely.
And
definitely,
I have encountered many a time in which there are people who think that not having fun is the best way to do things.
If you think not having fun is the best way to do things, leave us a comment below. I'm just kidding.
I'm thinking about, I at my old job, I was told I looked like I was having too much fun. That's such a weird.
Yeah, I've been told the same thing.
Weird construction.
The truth is, Marco, can I tell you the truth?
Yeah.
I was having too much fun. Got him.
No fun allowed. Dum, 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 big sign on there.
Let's talk to some cool little fun facts I got pulled up here.
Okay.
First time we talked about it. First time we're CGing all human beings. It's the most. Oh, I'm sorry. 4 times as many locations as any other Pixar movie, which I think is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Where else we got? It's we definitely got to talk about it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're thinking.
There's stuff missing.
Yeah. So this is the one Pixar film that does not have the Pizza Planet truck appear. Now, I know what you're all thinking, but it's a yellow blur when they're rolling along on the freeway, or
There's a yellow truck.
there's something. There's a yellow streak, but oh hey Ken, hope you're doing all right. Let's see. I love you, John. Yep. You'll never. No such thing as too much fun. Exactly. That's what I'm hoping for.
No, I love the end. Unless you're having too much fun.
Curls his mustache. So the truck does not appear in The Incredibles, and there's many reasons, many theories, many stories here and there. And my headcanon, based on just trawling the internet, is you had Brad Bird coming in as an outside director who had the immense pressure of creating a film that he had to prove himself. He had a new studio and was so focused that the traditions of the studio that didn't really apply to him. He did put A113 because he went to Cal Arts. So that was
twice.
Yeah. And so like those traditions are in there. And I just think it just kind of, I don't think it was like a lot of people have made
He says it. He comments on it. He's got a comment saying that he was working on a movie, not on working on putting Pizza Planet into a movie.
Yeah. And it's like, I know people have like taken that as a weird way where they're like, he hates the Pizza Planet truck. And it's just like, he's going to.
I'm butthurt. But I get it.
No, but like, I think it's neat. I think it's neat to have that distinction. And I think and even like Lee Unkrich has stated that like, it's not in there. It's like he was editing and working on it too. And it's like, it's not in there. And I get that it's a cool little niche thing, I get it. You want to be different. Brad Bird's a hipster. We all get it, guy. We get it. I mean, where's my truck, bro? Yeah.
Where's my truck? I spent a long time building a truck, okay?
I will say that in the two films that he made after this, when he did Ratatouille, it's way off in the distance for a split second. And then in Incredibles 2, it's still there and it's substantially closer, but not moving. Yeah. And so it's like he eventually did it and put it in.
The Incredibles 2 one, that's what makes sense when they upsetting.
It's that he should have just not done it either.
Yeah, because in my head I'm like, okay, I get it. It's the 50s. Pizza cars weren't really as big of a thing yet. 100%. Pizza's still mostly on the East Coast, probably. I don't know, but like, then all of a sudden it's just in it. The next one.
Sorry. I'm just
imagining. Like, bro, what happened?
Sorry, I'm just imagining like before the 1950s, before the Great Oregon Trail brought pizza to the West Coast.
On the Conestoga wagons for the pizza?
Yeah, we gotta get.
What happened? I got dysentery. I'm sorry I didn't make it on time.
Gotta get these deep dishes to SoCal.
I lost 3 children and a mule on the way. Here's your pepperoni.
You built a homestead in Colorado to build your pizza. What do you do next? Well, I'm going to make it real flat. There's not going to be any crust on this pizza.
I actually like thin crust pizza a lot.
I like, okay.
I like all pizza, to be honest. You know what I don't like? Here we go. Unpopular opinion.
Go for it.
I don't like stuffed crust pizza.
Okay.
I think it's unnecessary, and why are you putting string cheese inside of my pizza? It's weird. You're weird.
That's the thing. So my experience with stuffed crust pizza is it's one of those things where it's like, it has to be done right for it to be, like, oozy.
I love cheese. This is not a cheese thing.
Lactose intolerance.
But even lactose intolerant people eat cheese. They just deal with the consequences.
That's how
regularly. You know somebody right now. If you're listening, you know somebody who's lactose intolerant and they eat cheese on the regular.
And they're just
regular. They didn't have the pill anymore. They say, I'm done, whatever. We just go for it.
I've built up a tolerance. I must break you. I've built up a tolerance to this.
You gotta pay to play, baby.
I think it's because I've had stuffed crust pizza where it's like oozy and gooey and it's perfect. And then I've had where they didn't do it right and it's solidified and it's a piece of rubbery string cheese in the crust. Controversial.
In school, when we were in school when stuffed crust came out, right? And I remember it come out within a year, it was in the cafeteria. Yeah. And you were like, oh, everyone was all pumped on it. And I was just like, it's literally string cheese inside of the crust.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite, school meal? I remember Pizza Friday.
Taco boats.
Taco boats. Yes.
That was easy. That was the easiest question you've asked me in 3 years, bro.
I just remember, that was...
Can we talk about what a taco boat is? Because I guarantee you a lot of listeners don't know. A taco boat. It's going to be a corn tortilla, right? And what they do is they turn it in, they round up the sides each way, okay? And it comes out like an oval normally, right? Mm-hmm. And at which point they're going to put taco meat, cheese on top of that, right? And you come out of there, you put some salsa and some lettuce up in that mix too. Mm-hmm. And you come and you eat it, and it's a whole boat of taco. And it was was so good.
It's something different. You know what I think it is? It's like, I know a lot of people are probably sitting there going like, "Oh, it sounds like a taco bowl," but it's not. It's not crunchy. The cheese and the meat create the cement, and it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, which I might be. It's almost like pre-manufactured, pre-built cheese paper, taco cheese paper,
Probably. I wouldn't
and
be
like,
surprised.
yeah, and it
Wouldn't
just
be
like
surprised.
it could hold.
It's
It
not
had
good for you.
it's spear grease,
No.
and it had like structural integrity because you could like you'd play that game of like how far can I bite into this before it falls apart, and it's usually not until the end because the edges got real crispy, and it created this like structure ring, and sometimes the bottom would fall out or X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, yep.
Dude, we had
those. Those were fire, right?
Mhm.
We also had his next one. And these ones, I honestly don't know what the ingredients were. And you're like, what do you mean, what are the ingredients? The double cheeseburger thing we had for the longest time, where they gave you 2 cheeseburgers in a package, and it was like,
yeah,
they were so good, but they were just mush. It was just straight up 2 buns and mush, and it tasted so good. It was like, is this mashed potatoes or cheeseburger? I don't even know. And you would eat it, and it would taste so delicious. And honestly, if you gave that to me now, I'd probably throw up on you.
I just, it's funny though. It's like I look up taco boat. I'm googling taco boat, and there's soft tortilla taco boats and stand-in stuff.
It's not the same.
And like
It's
I'm gonna look up like
fried corn tortilla. It's like, okay, look, it's not homemade, y'all. This is like when you go to the store, you see the Del Monte Taco Bell shells. It's like that shell, but it's shaped into a boat already.
Yeah, it's like
God, I love it.
I found
I'm
one.
thinking about it. I might make them. I'm gonna make them.
Oh man, I just
Tune in
found
this week. Sean's taco boats are coming.
I found the quintessential photos where it's just this is memories.
You know what else I used to love? Oh man, we're gonna go on this quick tangent. Another great one that we used to have is right by our high school growing up. We had a bakery called Lexington Bakery, and you could always smell cookies growing up, and it was the best. But what sucked is you could never eat any of the cookies or baked goods. But when you get to high school, they start selling freshly baked cookies, 3 for $1.
Oh, man.
Bro, the morning baked cookies were so good.
Man, I feel like we need to do like a pop-up, like a not pizza taco, but just a taco boat pop-up, like a we need to do like a taco boat pop-up.
How about this? You just come over this week. I'll make us taco boats.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do like a we gotta do like, man, we should do that.
I don't got to start on the business, man. I'll make you a taco boat, bro. If anybody else listening right now, you want a taco boat, that's fine.
Marco. We just have lunch like normal people. It's not the business opportunity.
Plan a meeting. Okay. Oh man. Okay. So
jumping back to The Incredibles, things that I think of. Just check out that DVD. Check out the special features. It's a lot of fun. There's a really good montage that it's one of the special features where it's called Buttons and Doors. You probably can find it on YouTube, where someone edited every button being pressed and every door being opened, and you don't realize how many buttons and doors are in this movie until it is put to classical music, and it is a lot of fun.
What's it called?
Buttons and Doors. Let me see if I can find that.
Buttons and Doors.
Yeah. I'm working with my lunch.
Butt dough for show. We call it butt dough for show, y'all. You can look up butt dough, Google it right here, butt dough.
Let's see. It's put to, what's the song? I don't remember its song. I don't remember what it's a very recognizable piece of music, and it's a lot of fun. It's a real neat kind of exercise in editing. This fun thing.
I also saw that today was our 10-year anniversary of our NorCal road trip, bro. That was pretty cool. That was the Speaking of Andrew Dunsworth.
Yeah, man. That road trip was so bonkers. And just like that was the first time like I had been up to San Francisco since I was up to the Bay Area since I was a kid. And then I think like a month later I actually went to San Francisco proper. As an adult.
For those that are wondering, Marco is definitely the one that plans things in our group. And I'm the guy that just does things in our group. And this was a does thing kind of a mission.
Oh, yeah.
We planned very little.
There was, it was like, this is like peak road trip. It was just, so I had started work and I hadn't had 2 consecutive days off in, 3 months since I started work. And then we were like, yeah, let's do a road trip. Let's do something. And Sean was just like, the second you have 2 consecutive days, call me. The schedule comes out. Sean, let's go. I've got 2 days off. What are we doing? And we're like, called up whoever.
I hit up Clark, and Clark hit up Victor. And I remember at that point, I had a friend. We were all in college, so like it was just we just hit up all of our friends that went to different colleges back then. It was
Davis,
really fun.
Berkeley, Santa Cruz.
And we let all those people know that we'd be coming within the next couple days. There was no like, hey, we'll be there on Friday. Hey man, it's Wednesday. We'll be there by Saturday sometime.
Yeah. And we did, and it's just we went there and back in 46 hours. We left our area at 9 at night, 9 or 10, and then we made it to Davis by 4 or 5 in the morning.
We could have stopped like along the way up the way, but what had happened was we were listening to at the time. There we go. Sorry.
We were listening
at the time. We were listening to Plastic Beach. It had just come out, the Gorillaz, and we were on one. Like we played that album probably about 32 times.
It was Plastic Beach, The Fall, which was
the Fall had come out literally like a week before that.
Yeah, the iPad produced album, and then Nate Dogg had passed away.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
And there was
I found a mix. You can find it right now. Type in Nate Dogg dub CNN mix, and it's the coolest like 3-hour Nate Dogg mix. It's every like Nate Dogg drop that's ever happened. And if you play it right now, like I can literally do like 3 hours of like the entire thing. I still remember all of it. It was so much fun. 2 from the 1 to the 3. I like good when I like good. Smoke so much you wouldn't bet, and I got them. And I can't say any of the words, but you know.
I'll have to put a parental advisory. For those of you that are listening with the kids, we quote Samuel L. Jackson and Nate Dogg. But
it's funny, the family movie is the least family-friendly podcast we've got going so far.
And just like we were just like on a mission, and we just listened to that. We listened to 3 albums, maybe a grand total of like 3 to 4 hours of music on a 46-hour road trip. So we were just listening to it over and over again. We were singing along with it. We went up to Dave.
We met a lot of really cool people. I remember we were out in front of we got Little Caesars Pizza. We got like 3 pizzas one night, and there was some little kid out front, and we got these little Super Balls. And me and Victor were kicking the Super Ball around to each other because we're idiots. And the kid's like, I want to play. It's a little kid out there going, oh yeah. He was having so much fun with us, just kicking Super Ball against the wall. And then the mom was like, we won't play with them. So we gave him our Super Ball. And it was like little moments like that kept happening where we're like strangers. And it was
road
fun.
Pizza, and like it's just what's crazy too is this is a real funny thing. So the Little Caesars that we stopped at in, I think it was Berkeley area. The Little Caesars was 1 block away from the hotel that we stayed at when we did the first road trip. And I just think that, because I remember I didn't realize that until like 4 years later when we were up there again for something else. And I was at that hotel, and then I was like, oh, let's go get Domino's or you get pizza, Little Caesars. I'm walking, I'm going, this looks very familiar.
Pinball machine.
Wait a second. Putting 1 together, and then all of a sudden, you know.
Then all of a sudden, da 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 da. I just want to have an Incredibles montage for myself everywhere I go.
I feel like that should be the montage once everything starts getting back
when 2021 gets to be good, like in a good state, I'm playing that song for
just driving the truck. And that road trip was wild. I think we should do a broadcast soon where it's just a free for all. And like talking about that. But that was a trial by fire for a road trip, which is crazy because I did 0 driving on the road trip. That was you and I think, did everybody drive except for me, or did you and Clark, right? Or was it,
that was me. You? Clark drove for like 20 minutes while I took like a 20-minute nap one time.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that was your niece.
That was for a couple things. Well, that was my Nissan. It was funny. We had 4 full-grown men in a little Nissan for like 40 hours straight. It was great. And that's not the first time it's happened. So funny. But then also that was a big launching pad for the Pizza Plant truck, and what our endeavors ended up being with that. What we thought they would be, at least, you know. That was
video.
an experiment for you to experiment videotaping, doing a video log and that, man, and whatnot. Mind you, we didn't have anywhere near the resources we had for the Pixar project, but
Yeah.
we did have what we had. I think that's when you first got your 7D, I want to say.
That was the first time I had spent any time. That was my first time with a DSLR. My friend let me borrow it, and like I think about it, and I'm just like, you know, my friend really trusted me. He was just like, I'm going to give you a couple lenses, and you know, maybe I had just bought it. Maybe, yeah.
Marco,
maybe
you're the right person to trust, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But just the fact that he was just like, yeah, you can borrow my gear for 2 days, and like, and what was so wild about that was with filming and with like even now, like when I film with my phone, I'm like the way that I film with my phone is stuff that I learned from that and before that. But what was crazy was, you know, everyone's always like, I've got storage, I've got all these cards, and like between the cards that I had and the one that my friend let me borrow, I think I had 32 gigabytes, which like for some it's crazy. Like I did days where I was filming 16 gigs in a day, and while we were going, I was like, that footage is bad, and this is good. And so by the time I got home, I only had like 32 gigs to go through, and I just kind of plunked them in and just laid music over it. I think I could post that link. I'll post that link. I'm still that video I'm proud of, because I'd love to say.
What?
There are very few videos. There are a few videos that I've made that I think perfectly encapsulate the feeling of being there. And I think that road trip video is just that weird.
Yeah, dude, there's a bunch of scenes where you get it perfect. You got the scene that my favorite scene from the whole thing is Victor walking down at the Madonna Inn and hugging the gumball machine. It just hits. So it gives me goosebumps because I felt the way that he felt when he hugged that machine.
At that point, we were in such a daze. We stopped at the Madonna Inn, and like at the time, we weren't really like researching. We're like, what's the Madonna Inn? Like,
yeah, I saw a weird sign, so I pulled off.
Yeah, and we're like, well, let's get gas and let's go in there. And we walked in, and we're like, I think we were like looking it up. We're like
Gene Autry's or John Wayne's old whatchamacallit, stomping grounds.
And it was just like, I think the fact that like we saw that it was like, oh, it has themed rooms and a rock waterfall urinal, and we're like, we're stopping, pull over, we're going.
Yep.
Yeah, like I miss road trips. I
definitely peed in the waterfall, and it's really cool because the way the waterfall thing works is it senses when you're there and it turns on when you're in front of it. So you really do pee in a waterfall.
And like, there's just some like, I think I gotta watch that video again because
you can't poop in the waterfall. Just a heads up, they really don't like that.
And like, it just scratches that like travel itch. Like, I want to go back on road trips again. Like, every time that I hear like an album, I'm just like, I just want to drive for hours and just listen to this one album. Like,
it's a good feeling, man. It really is.
Like I think, well, like the new Gorillaz. Every time new Gorillaz comes out, I'm like, I need to go on a road trip. I need to go someplace.
There's only one way to consume this: on the road.
All at once, on the road. And like, I did a tweet yesterday from the truck where I was like, I have so many compilations and playlists of things that I really want to like to do a playlist and drive, and you know, but yeah, I think that's it. I think, how you feeling?
I honestly don't feel very good, but I feel really good talking to you. You know what I mean?
I was gonna check. I was like, you know what? I need to check in on John. We've been talking for a while. Hour and a half. I think we're doing okay.
I think we are too. If you want to keep going, I can. I'm not tripping. My head is just pounding at the moment, but that's life.
I'm forcing you to look at a small screen and listen to me talk, and I think that is punishment enough.
You're not forcing me to do nothing, brother. I appreciate it.
So I'd say I think this is a good spot to wrap up. Unless let's do like 5 minutes if anyone wants to throw a question.
Yeah, if you got a question for me, shoot it.
Yeah,
shoot your shot.
And I think like. Trying to think of things.
Questions I have for y'all. Okay. I got a question for everybody listening right now. If you're listening to this and you can hear my voice, I want you to answer this question. Marco Bongiorno, Sean Beeman, Walt Disney. F1 kill, one marry, one go. Put it in the comments. I want to hear it now.
Boo, no.
Just kidding. Don't do it.
We could do let's do the Proust questionnaire for like 2 minutes, and if nothing comes up, we will shut this down. Proust questionnaire. What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Overrated virtue?
Mhm.
Oh man. All I can think of is patience, but I don't think it's overrated. I don't know. What would you say?
I have no idea. I haven't even thought of it.
That's a hard one. That's a really good question.
Yeah, we should probably.
Okay. Overrated virtue? I would
Yeah.
say, what are some virtues? Being honest, being
What are here are 12 virtues. Courage, temperance, liberality. Oh wait, hold on. Let's do the. These are Aristotle's. Bravery, moderation, charisma and style, generosity, pride, temper and calm, and friendliness. It's weird because it's kind of making you pick a good thing and saying, I don't particularly like that good thing.
Yeah, no, this is like these are tools you use when you're like hiring people, so you get them to find out like right where they land on it, as opposed to because it's a hard. I would say probably. Oh man, that's hard. Maybe courage.
Yeah, there's a certain
courage out of those because I mean, like if you can do the other things without the courage, then you don't need the courage.
Yeah, there's a certain recklessness involved with having courage. Like it's within a certain
line between cockiness and courage.
Yeah, I was going to on mine. Mine is so weird and truncated of this list. I put calm because like there's a difference between being calm and collected and being unfeeling and unbothered. And the way that I always, when I encounter people who are calm, I always have to like run it through this filter, being like they aren't unbothered; they're just unperturbed. And
yeah, well, I mean, it's like the Buddha. Here's a good thing. I'll leave you with this one. There's a good teaching about Buddha, and he talks about anger, and it's a good lesson. And Buddha goes into the same town every weekend from his monastery, and he goes in to sell his trinkets and whatever he sells there. He picks up whatever he needs to pick up for the back to the monastery. Every time he goes to enter the city gates, the town guards, they spit on him and curse his name because he's different and he believes in different religion and he practices life different. And Buddha simply walks by unhindered every day. And every day they curse him and they throw more curses towards his name and they spit on him more and they make his life as much of a hell as they possibly can. And this continues for months until one day one of the guards stops him and says, "Why don't you ever react? Why don't you ever tell us to stop? Why don't you ever stop coming here?" And he says that these emotions that you have are a gift. And if I choose not to accept them, does the gift not stay with me or does it not stay with you? Your anger is your anger, and I choose not to accept it. Therefore, the anger resides in you.
Yeah.
And with any of these things, you choose, you're the one that's in charge of every relationship that you're in. You decide exactly how you want to react.
And with that, I'd say that's a good spot to stop. So next week, we are going to be covering, I want to say cars. Might be cars.
Hold on, real quick, got a really important question. Will you guys build a pizza planet around the world? That would mean that we would turn ourselves into mole people because then we'd be on the inside of a pizza planet world where pizza people would probably then take precedent over the people in which we are. You want to be mole people, bro? That's what you want, Brendan? You want to be a mole man? You mole man, Brendan? That's you? Okay, mole man, Brendan Harrison.
I think what's interesting is I would like to take our Pizza Planet truck around the world. I think that would be neat.
That would be pretty crazy.
As of now, we have been to.
As of now, we have a photocopied picture of it. We'll put it on a popsicle stick and taking that.
We'll do a flat Stanley. I think it would be neat to. I don't know if we would be building actual buildings, or building other
Build
trucks
an actual
elsewhere.
Pizza Planet?
There are other trucks around the world. I think there's up to like 20 right now. But
it'd be cool to see a Pizza Planet pop up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ghost kitchen.
It'd be really cool. Like you just had to take over like an old like Chuck E. Cheese and then
that'd be neat. Yeah.
Right.
But with that, I'd
have like 2 or 3 custom games. Yeah, I think we're cool, brother.
Yeah. Next week we will be watching the first Cars series. And I'll let Sean take us out on his Owen
Cars.
Wilson impression.
I think it. Oh God! Don't do this to me.
I'm gonna make you do your Kermit the Frog. Ka-chow!
He's really close to Kermit, man. He's really close.
Frog.
There's only a little. There's a tiny difference between
It
Kermit.
ain't easy being McQueen. Ha! Ka-chow!
Wow.
Wow!
You see? You feel it now. I know you
Wow!
feel it now.
Wow! Wow! And with that, we'll
I'm not wrong.
be prepared for many an Owen Wilson impression. Signing off.
Wow. Louder. Have a good one, Marco.
Yep. See you, Sean.